Only a few months ago, people were bracing themselves for a recession. People were fearing a stock market bloodbath. And you can see right here that 2.9 trillion was wiped off the stock market. And here we are 4 months later experiencing an explosion of stock gains in tech, in AI, and in quantum computing as well. Nvidia has gained nearly 2 trillion in market value since the start of 2023. And you can see right here its meteoric rise in share price. Palantir Technologies is at almost 1,000% gain. There have also been reports circulating that Palantir's Chief Technology Officer, Shyam Sankar, is being considered for a Pentagon top research and engineering position under President-elect Donald Trump's administration. And Palantir Technologies CEO Alex Karp has made a bullish statement, an end-of-year address to all Palantir Technologies shareholders as well.
We got into the S&P, which is a sign of the juggernaut that our products created. We are at the core of making the obvious superiority of the West not just a moral platitude, but a factual reality.
And so as you can see, there's no doubt that Palantir have had an incredible run over the last year. But one of my concerns surrounds this price to earnings ratio of 382, which you can see right here. You can see this quote from Warren Buffett: "The most common cause of low prices is pessimism. We want to do business in such an environment, as in a pessimistic environment, not because we like pessimism, but because we like the prices it produces. It's optimism that is the enemy of the rational buyer." And it's kind of almost this final sentence around it's optimism that is the enemy of the rational buyer, which I really want to focus on and look in the context of, you know, the prices we're looking at Nvidia, the prices for Palantir, and the prices for some of these quantum stocks as well. And with that in mind, it's when there's euphoria in the market, as you can see from this chart here, that I get really concerned and I get really worried. And this is exactly what we're seeing with tech stocks, with AI stocks at the moment. And it's not only stocks like Nvidia, like Palantir, like SoundHound AI, but it's also the big buzz that we're experiencing right now around quantum stocks as well. The likes of quantum computing, which experienced a 1,500% increase. The likes of Rigetti Computing, D-Wave Quantum, and Quantum Corporation. And so not only is there this bullish sentiment in the stock market at the moment, but I think what's really important is to consider the background, what's happening in the background, in particular with the Fed. You know, the Fed are sufficiently concerned about the state of the economy to have undertaken 3 rate cuts in 2024, which is a typical move to make when there are concerns around the economy, a move to help any kind of recessionary fears, if you like, fears of a recession. And so in September 2024, the Federal Reserve lowered interest rates by 0.5%, which they call 50 base points, to make borrowing cheaper and to stimulate the slowing economy. By October 2024, the Federal Reserve had cut interest rates again, this time by 0.25% or 25 base points. And in December 2024, the Federal Reserve made another rate cut, lowering interest rates by a further 0.25% for a third time in a row to keep supporting the economy. History shows us that rate cuts come before recessions, and sometimes 6 to 18 months before a recession. And certainly in the case of the 2007 to 2008 crisis, there were 7 rate cuts before the recession hit. Before the 2001 dot-com crash, the Federal Reserve implemented 3 rate cuts, and during the 1990 recession, it was the same thing. There were 3 rate cuts implemented by the Federal Reserve. And so the whole point in cutting interest rates is to make borrowing cheaper. It means that consumers and businesses can borrow more money with a lower interest rate, which in turn encourages spending. Encourages spending from consumers, and it encourages spending from businesses. You can see from this infographic right now that as the Fed cut interest rates, the cost of borrowing goes down. There are more buyers in the market, which means demand goes up and prices go up. And this is exactly what we're experiencing right now. Like I said, the Fed have already cut rates 3 times in 2024, and it's anticipated that they're going to continue to cut rates into 2025 as well. And so with the current interest rate cuts, combined with the optimism in the stock market, can be seen as a huge red flag. And it's quite possible that the enthusiasm will continue in the stock market, and I expect it probably will do. But fundamentally, you know, the stock market is not painting an accurate picture of what's really happening behind the scenes. You know, the conversations behind the scenes with the Fed are very, very different, and there's a level of concern, you know, which is why they have gradually and consistently, you know, over a period of 3 months, consistently cut rates. You know, fundamentally, the inflation rate is above the Fed's target. And so as much as there's so much optimism and hype and enthusiasm in the stock market, is not painting an accurate position, like I said, of the conversations that are going on behind the scenes. And the Fed are being very, very cautious with this, with these incremental cuts. And like I said, these cuts are going to continue into the next few months at least. At the same time, there's been a lot of bullish sentiment with Trump and his team committed to revitalizing the US economy. But when you combine the overheating of the market, speculative tech bubbles, and rate cuts, it's starting to look like an early sign of history potentially repeating itself. Whether it's the dot-com bubble or the 2008 financial crisis, speculative bubbles often lead to painful corrections. And I think one of the critical things is that you may be feeling like you've missed the boat on some of these stocks. Maybe you feel a level of regret because you didn't make an entry into Nvidia, Palantir, SoundHound AI, or some of these quantum stocks. But when you look at the prices and you look at the price to earnings ratios and the current enthusiasm, what with the backdrop I've just mentioned, and you look at this chart as well, combined with what the Fed are actually doing behind the scenes, you know, we're destined for a recession at some point. And in that time, there is going to be a huge opportunity to get into some of these stocks, whether it's Palantir, whether it's Nvidia, whether it's some of the others that you know about. But in the meantime, certainly with all of these tech stocks, yes, there are some that I missed out on. Yes, there are some that I'd love to get involved in. I wish I had sooner, but at the same time, I'm just sitting on my hands, in particular with those stocks where there's a lot of kind of enthusiasm and to an extent euphoria as well with those stocks and a lot of hype. And in the back of my mind, I'm just looking at the next opportunity, you know, when these stocks are trading at a time of pessimism, you know, like Warren Buffett mentions in this kind of quote, and I'll be waiting to make entries into some of those stocks then. And naturally, I'll keep you posted because the stock market is always changing. I'll let you know what I'm doing with these stocks and with some of the other stocks that I continue to document or analyze on this channel. But look, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. All the best.